This is ABC 15 Mornings.
1,500 people under evacuation orders right now. Hundreds of firefighters battling the flames and zero containment on one of the largest fires ever in Arizona.
A record number of cases and a record number of hospital patients. How much worse can COVID-19 get? This is Arizona is getting closer to 40,000 confirmed cases.
And police reform in Washington. Both Republicans and Democrats have solutions. Can they work together to get something done? And more demonstrations to defund police are scheduled this afternoon in Phoenix. It is 6 o'clock right now on the nose on this busy Wednesday. Thanks for waking up with ABC 15 Mornings. I'm Nick Saletti here in studio. Kaylee O'Kelly is in the newsroom this morning. Hey, Kaylee.
Good morning. Good morning to all of you. Yeah, we want to wake you up, obviously, and get you going, but we definitely want to keep you ahead of the game when it comes to our weather and what is going on with these wildfires here in Arizona. So let's get straight over to our meteorologist, Iris Hermosillo, for a look at that. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Well, winds will continue to be a factor for us here as we go through the day today. Temperatures, though, a little bit less hot today across the state in comparison to the last few days. This morning, we're off to a mild start with Phoenix checking in right at 78 degrees. Winds are also light below 10 miles an hour at this point. Those wind speeds will be going up as the day progresses, though, and it'll be breezy by this afternoon. But notice temperatures today, a more gradual warm up in comparison to the last few days. That will put us in the low 90s by 10 a.m., but it'll keep us in the 90s even through about 1 o'clock this afternoon before we see those triple digits. Today, a high of 103 in Phoenix. That's actually 2 degrees below the average high for this time of year. So we'll take these below average highs, at least for today and even the next couple of days. We'll talk more about that 7-day forecast and, of course, those wind speeds that we're going to be dealing with across the state in just a few minutes.
Iris, thank you. Right now, the bushfire is on the verge of becoming one of the largest wildfires in our state's history. It's currently over 64,000 acres. To give you some perspective, that's about 25,000 acres larger than the city of Chandler or Glendale. John Genovese is live near an evacuation center in Miami. John, it's going to be a long day for people praying that firefighters can save their homes.
Yeah, long day, Nick, and dry and windy conditions have really made this fire difficult to fight. 2 nights ago, we saw things really flare up and grow substantially overnight. Now, so far, no homes or businesses have been destroyed, but people in Pumpkin Center and Tonto Basin and some other communities there have now been ordered to evacuate as this fire is still 0% contained. Take a look. This is some video of those flames from yesterday afternoon. Now, we know close to 450 firefighters are now battling this as resources are getting stretched thin, with crews working on multiple fires throughout the state. State Route 87 northeast of Fountain Hills remains closed from Bush Highway to Payson. State Route 188 is closed from the 87 junction to Roosevelt. Now, we spoke with crews on the ground as they're doing their best to make some headway in this. They're hoping conditions to come are more favorable than what they've been dealing with so far.
Incredibly rough topography, but then the winds that we've had the past few days, we've got relative humidities that are below, or they're in the single digits, below 10%. We've got very dry fuels, a lot of fine fuels out there, and when you put a big wind behind that, a fire, it makes it very difficult.
And we know several other communities are on standby orders to evacuate. Again, the Red Cross setting up a shelter where we are at this Miami, Arizona middle school. We know another shelter has been set up in Payson. Now, as for just how much this fire may have grown overnight, fire crews are planning another briefing at 7 o'clock this morning. We should learn some new information then. And of course, Nick, we will pass that along as soon as we get it.
John Genovese reporting live for us. John, thank you, and of course, stay safe. Well, John just mentioned some of those road closures. Here's a map showing them. SR 87 remains shut down from Payson to the Bush Highway, and SR 188 is closed from the 87 to SR 88. The best detour is going to be taking the I-17 to the 260.
Well, for the second time this week, a Phoenix police officer-involved shooting. Last night, officers responding to a domestic violence call at an apartment complex near the 17 and Indian School. Police are telling us when officers got there, they heard screaming, so they moved fast into that apartment. They say they noticed bullet holes in the wall. They heard gunshots and a woman screaming from what sounded like a back bedroom. They went into that bedroom to rescue her, and that is when the suspect was shot. He died at the scene, they say. The woman is okay. And for the first time in nearly 3 weeks, we did not see any planned protests here in the Valley last night. That will change today as demonstrators are planning to gather outside Phoenix City Hall. They are calling for city leaders to defund Phoenix police. Today, city council members are set to give their final vote on the city's budget, which does include nearly $3 million in funding for the review board for Phoenix Police. And that meeting gets underway this afternoon at 2:30.
6:05, one day after President Donald Trump signed that executive order aimed at addressing the national outcry over police brutality, Senate Republicans will unveil their own police reform bill. The proposal does not include a federal chokehold ban, but state and local governments will not be eligible for grants if they do not enact a ban, which can include an exception for when lives are at risk.
That's something that we find appropriate because it's certainly better than having the officer have to shoot someone.
President Trump's executive order encourages local police departments to report instances of police misconduct to a national registry. Meantime, Democrats in the House are advancing their own police reform bill. It does ban chokeholds and makes it easier for people to sue police departments.
This morning, Arizona expected to climb above 40,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Tuesday, the biggest jump we've seen in cases in one day, almost 2,400 new cases reported. Nearly 1,200 people have died in Arizona because of the virus. And now healthcare workers from across the nation are coming to Arizona to help with the pandemic. Our Mark Thompson joining us now with more information about this. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Kaylee. And yes, indeed, Banner Health, in fact, is calling in reinforcements from out of state to help care for patients as the number of cases continues to rise. 3 nurses from Colorado flying into the Valley to help out at Banner University, where hospital officials say that their ICU is very busy. 2 healthcare professionals giving us some insight into what they're seeing.
I can tell you that when we discharge a patient or we transfer, a patient out to a little lower level of care, even to the ICU, our beds aren't staying open. That, for sure, we're filling the beds as soon as we're getting rid of people.
The dramatic change that I noticed just yesterday compared to I worked the week before was impressive, to put it as positively as I can. It was kind of scary.
And Banner Health, they will not tell us exactly how many nurses or doctors that they need right now. They say that the situation is fluid and the numbers continue to change, but they're also welcoming back any healthcare professionals who had retired, and they're saying that they can come back to work if they choose. Reporting live this morning, Mark Thompson, ABC15 Arizona. Back to you.
All right, Mark Thompson, thank you for us live. The coronavirus also impacting our local leaders. The mayor of Surprise revealing at last night's city council meeting he has tested positive for COVID-19. Mayor Skip Hall making that announcement over the phone as he quarantines from his home. The Navajo Nation will bring back its weekend curfew, all in response to the rising number of cases. The lockdowns will be in effect for at least the next 2 weekends. The tribe reporting nearly 6,700 confirmed cases.
Nearly 700 Arizona healthcare professionals sending a letter to Governor Doug Ducey asking him to require people to wear face masks. The group says they feel everyone over the age of 2 needs to be wearing a mask when they're out in public. And the doctors are also warning that our state's healthcare system is becoming overwhelmed.
It appears that there has been a giving up by Governor Ducey's office, and as a large group of physicians, we're reminding him that we don't have that luxury.
A spokesperson telling us that Governor Ducey believes everyone should wear a face mask and follow public health guidelines, but did not say if he would make it mandatory.
The number of cases for the nation is more than 2.1 million, as about 20 states are reporting an increase in confirmed cases. One of them, Florida, where a woman says she and at least 12 of her friends tested positive after going to a bar in Jacksonville.
We're not paying attention to what is actually going on, and we're just kind of opening things up. We're going to contract it, and we're going to kill people in our own community.
So in response to the rising number of cases, Miami has paused its reopening plans.
Next on ABC 15 Mornings, continuing coverage on the largest fire burning in the U.S. The bushfire chewing through grass and brush and moving fast. Officials calling the danger as imminent and life-threatening.
Also ahead, here's a question for you. Are you safe when you go to a Valley casino? There are some new accusations this morning from some employees who are warning anyone even thinking about pressing their luck. In your Wednesday morning headlines here, once a coronavirus vaccine is approved, the Trump administration says it expects health insurers to cover the cost for people, and that means no copays or other charges. A vaccine not expected, though, to be available to patients until next year. Facebook launching a new initiative to help people to vote this November. Users will find the Voting Info Center on Facebook and on Instagram, and it will offer details on voting by mail, how to register to vote, and polling locations. The information comes from state election officials. And the Army rolling out its first nationwide virtual hiring campaign. The goal is to recruit 10,000 new soldiers to serve in 150 different occupations. Those who enlist during this time could get an extra $2,000 bonus or a 4-year scholarship.
ABC 15 Desert Drive Time, sponsored by Accident Law Group.
6:13 on a Wednesday, and this is your Desert Drive Time traffic, sponsored by Accident Law Group. So let's look at our 8-hour camera. This is the I-10 right now at 7th Street there, not far from the tunnel. Traffic eastbound, westbound, actually looking pretty good right now. It's pretty quiet, and we just checked our other major valley freeways, and no crashes or delays to tell you about this morning.
Well, they have become some of the most memorable images of our monsoon. Large walls of dust essentially devouring everything in their path as they roll across our desert landscape. It's Monsoon Awareness Week, and today we're focusing on dust storms. While they obviously look impressive, these walls of dust can be dangerous and even deadly. They form when winds rush out of a collapsing thunderstorm, picking up that dust from the desert floors, and that dust can drop visibility in an instant. So your safest bet is to not drive through a dust storm. So remember this through the season: pull aside, stay alive. Turn off your car and lights, take your foot off the brake, and put on your emergency brakes, and then wait it out until visibility improves. So we've been talking all about the monsoon this week, and I want to start off by talking about the big weather picture, because that is what's critical to our monsoon storms. We need those winds to start flowing in from the south to pull in that monsoon moisture. We don't have that happening right now. What we have is an area of low pressure to our north, and you can see those lines showing the wind flow coming in out of the west. So that's what's ushering in some of that drier air. Our weather will stay dry, and we will continue to see those temperatures in the hundreds even as we head into the weekend with dry conditions across the state. But I want to show you something else. Next week, high pressure begins to build back in, and that's going to heat us up back into the hundreds, but closer to about 110 by early next week. But here's the deal: as we watch this area of high pressure, it begins to kind of set up over Arizona, and it's possible that not this weekend, but next weekend, we could start to get some of that better moisture flowing into our state, potentially finally setting up our monsoon weather pattern. So I'm talking June 27th, maybe 28th. Stay tuned. You know I'm going to keep you updated on this, but I kind of wanted to give you a sneak peek just to show you what we're watching here as we anticipate and await those monsoon storms. But in the meantime, before the rain hits, we've got to deal with that fire threat still, and today that's going to be another issue for us today. As we look at current conditions, we've got clear skies in the valley with temperatures in the upper 70s. Winds right now still pretty light, below 10 miles an hour in most spots across Arizona, but as we head back into this afternoon, we will get breezy again. Our hour-by-hour forecast, though, shows you that today's warm-up will be just a little bit slower than yesterday. So we'll see the temperatures warming into the mid-80s by 8 o'clock this morning, into the 90s by 10 a.m., but we're still going to be in the 90s even through that lunch hour at 97 degrees. Toasty, but not into the hundreds yet. And then we'll see those hundreds by around 2 o'clock, a little later than we've seen the triple digits the last few days, and today's high will end up 3 degrees lower than yesterday, with a high of 103 in Phoenix. We'll reach 103 in Queen Creek and in Mesa, 103 in Tempe. Overnight lows in the East Valley down into the 60s to 70s. Highs will only reach the upper 90s in spots like Cave Creek and Anthem. 102, though, in Avondale and in Goodyear. And surprise, you'll only reach 101 this afternoon. Across the state, look for highs in the low hundreds in western Arizona. 94 today in Globe, 91 in Kingman, and 83 in Show Low. Now, Show Low and eastern and southeast Arizona remain under that critical fire threat, as we've got red flag warnings for you for eastern Arizona and southeast Arizona through the day today. That's where winds will be the strongest, and we'll see those dry conditions only increase that fire danger. Wind gusts in those areas could peak between about 35 and 40 miles an hour, and that includes northern Arizona too. Those areas like Flagstaff not under that fire alert, but those wind gusts in northern Arizona like Flagstaff will still be near about 35 miles an hour and breezy here in the valley. After today, winds lighten up across the state. We'll hit 103 today, then tomorrow down to 102, 102 Friday before we start to heat back up again.
Well, I'm John WC live in Miami, Arizona at a Red Cross shelter that has been set up here to help people evacuated by the bushfire. I want to bring in Jim Galloon with the American Red Cross. And Jim, tell us, what kind of resources do you have available for these folks?
Well, first of all, they come in and check in, and with this COVID atmosphere we have, they're going to need to check in. Okay, we'll take the temperature, ask for several questions like we did when you came in, and it's a mandatory mask. So we're here to help them out, have them relax. It's like a cooling center maybe, and we'll offer them, water, snacks, information too. The most important thing is the information.
And I know you guys have this location here in Miami, another in Payson, but you mentioned because of the coronavirus, a little different than in years past. Tell us about kind of how this is working this time around.
Right. So they'll stay here for a while, during the day, and near the end of the day, we'll ask them, do you have a place to stay? If they don't have a family member coming out, we'll assist them in getting some lodging. And this is called non-congregate sheltering. So each person would have their own separate room that way.
I know 1,500 people so far, give or take, evacuated from this, several other communities on standby. How do you mobilize and make sure that you have enough resources in place for everybody who needs it?
Well, we all our volunteers are the greatest volunteers that you can ever have with working with you, but we train them and they're all prepared. We prepare ourselves for the wildfire season, just like the monsoon seasons. So we're prepared. We can set this up in less than 2 hours.
And you were just describing more of a cooling station, a place to grab some snacks, some drinks. Tell us, what do you have here in this location?
Well, right now we just have, somebody just donated some fruit and Gatorade, and we have snacks and hand sanitizers, obviously, and plenty of water, and just air conditioning too. So they're just gonna wait here, wait it out, and hopefully things will get improved.
And for people that are in need of assistance, what do they need to know maybe before they even show up here?
Well, definitely be prepared when you evacuate, okay? Bring important papers. If you do have a pet, bring their shot records, okay? Bring personal stuff, bring clothing too, change the clothing, because we just don't know how long you're gonna be away from the home.
Jim Galloon with the American Red Cross. We really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much. And again, guys, at last count, 1,500 people ordered to evacuate. Again, several other communities near Tonto Basin, near Apache Lake, as well, ordered to be on standby this morning. Firefighters are expected to hold a briefing at 7 o'clock. We are hoping to learn some new information, then, of course, pass that along as soon as we get it both on air and online. But for now, reporting live, John Genovese, ABC15, Arizona.
All right, John, thank you. There are new accusations against Gila River Casino's employees expressing concerns over safety and protocols after a worker at the Lone Butte Casino in Chandler died from coronavirus. ABC15 getting several emails over the past couple of days from casino employees who say they were given an ultimatum when the property reopened in May: return or resign.
You're not giving me a choice. You're telling me, sign it saying I want to come back to work, when basically you're making me come back to work, because I either come back to work to make money and have health benefits, or I don't have health benefits or an income. Then what?
Other employees say positive COVID-19 tests are being hidden from them. We did reach out to Gila River Casino about these specific allegations, but were referred to their statement from Monday about the increased safety procedures.
621, there are a lot of new products coming out aimed at keeping us safe in public places, like this beach ring, which stretches out to create a 12-foot circle to help you social distance from others on the beach, or this hook ring, which can be used to grab, push, or pull things so you don't have to touch them with your hands in public places. There's also a device that you can put around your hands to push buttons, and one that allows you to open doors using your foot. That's always a dilemma in public because you don't want to touch things. Hey, several restaurants have once again closed down. Thousands of new cases, hundreds of doctors wanting you to wear a mask. Ahead, will we soon see a mandate to protect your nose and mouth?
Plus, a possible revamp for law enforcement. Today, a partisan battle is about to collide over police reform.
625 among the thousands of events canceled because of this pandemic. Spring sports for kids. Kids never hit the field and some parents never got a refund. Soccer goals have fallen over and the grass is overgrown. Spring season canceled after parents paid hundreds of dollars.
The Spring Soccer League, we paid $595.
Julie Hooper's son played one weekend before the season was shut down.
We've asked where our money is, and they are keeping all of it, and we get a 10% discount if we sign up for next season. I've heard from other teams other clubs that have gotten money back, that they would get money back from the tournaments that were not played.
Many clubs do not offer refunds. Soccer moms nationwide asking where the money's gone. Some teams say they prepaid for tournaments and are having problems getting those deposits back. Others say the money went to field maintenance and insurance.
To pay $595 and get so little, it just seems like we should get something back. We are deserving of that. We're all going through hard times.
Some soccer clubs are applying for federal pandemic assistance and hoping to use that money to refund parents.
626, and we know very little about the way this year's Emmy Awards will work because of coronavirus and the pandemic, but we do know that it will have a host. Jimmy Kimmel is going to serve as host for the third time. This year's show will air here on ABC15 in September. The network says plans are still fluid, but more details will be announced soon.
Next at 6:30, stopping the surge of cases after seeing a record number when it comes to the coronavirus. Is it time for everyone to start wearing a mask?
And time to defund the police department. That's what some demonstrators are calling for, and they will be at today's city council meeting. I'm Mark Thompson. I'll break down if those cries will fall on deaf ears next.